Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Big Hass, and I am here today at the American Consulate, and we are having with us Burn, the Ballroom band. So, yes, beautiful, beautiful people that just came from, of course, the US. So, we're gonna get straight into it. First of all, welcome to Saudi Arabia. It's a huge honor to have you guys here in Saudi.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Incredible to be here.
Yeah, I guess it's your first time in and I will just get straight to it. Where did the name Burn the Ballroom, come from? Like, what?
So to us, Burn the Ballroom is just a good combination of contemporary passion, the flair, the contemporary flash, and the traditional classic imagery of the ballroom. So together, it's old and new,
Mixed together.
Yeah, mixed together.
Who came up with the name?
I did. So I started the band just in name years ago, and then I was just waiting for the right group of guys to play music with, and then 2 years ago we all sort of came together.
Oh, great. How'd you guys meet up? How was the meet up? How'd you guys cross paths, let's say?
It's a little bit different.
Kind of one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
One at a time.
Oh, okay.
Through the music scene between Virginia, DC, Maryland, Delaware, sort of met through shows and concerts and other bands and other musician friends and things like that.
The music scene in Washington D.C. isn't as big as a lot of other cities, so we kind of all inevitably met each other.
Yeah.
Also blind luck.
And a lot of luck. Yeah.
Blind luck. Well, that's great. For me, it's always I come from a little bit of a hip hop background, but it's important to realize as well that what got you together is the love of music and love of performing live. So I just want to go back quickly talk about the local scene where you guys are from. How is it, and how is the support from the local community to you guys?
Where we're at, there isn't much of a local scene. We're outside of the nation's capital. And so you have a lot of really amazing bands that come through DC.
Okay.
But because of that, people there don't tend to pay a lot of attention to the local art scene, local theater scene, local music scene. So we have to sort of make our own scene. So there's a really good connection between bands in Virginia, DC, Maryland, even places like Delaware, because we all sort of share each other's venues and and play for each other's fans and things like that. So the bands tend to be pretty close, but cool. It's where we're from is a weird area of the U.S. where there isn't much of a local music scene. You go to places like New York or Atlanta or Austin, Texas, or Chicago or L.A., and then there's music everywhere.
Correct.
But DC is a really weird place.
Yeah, but that's where you guys are from, right? What was that somehow of a push for you guys to create what you do? Since there is no local, was that something to inspire you to do? What got you? What inspired you actually to create? To start actually playing?
I think we all just love playing music, and we just want to play music all the time. And because we don't have a lot of the bigger venues or the access to bigger venues in our area, we try to get creative with opportunities, which is one of the things that led us here. We started looking for things that would take us outside of our area and outside of our regular fan base.
Yeah.
And then we got the opportunity to do this stuff, and we were looking at a bunch of different things to do, and this just happened to work out. So this is
beautiful. Since you brought that up, so what was the first impression? Maybe I can get a one word, from you guys since you came to Saudi. What's the first impression you guys got from Saudi Arabia?
We drove by the new convention center they're building, and it was just immense. And it was that plus this giant fountain. I had no idea.
Yeah. The giant fountain,
I had no preconceived notions of the country whatsoever, so when I got here, the aesthetic was beautiful. It was much more modern than I anticipated.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Much more developed. I was thinking it would be a little bit more like Tunisia, with more rustic, a little bit of the history there. So it just kind of blew me away with how modern it was.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess it wasn't as restrictive as I thought it might be.
Yes.
It was more here versus the stricter parts, but it definitely was. It hasn't been a huge deal as people warned us, you can't ever go there. Everyone's been nice. It's not been a big deal.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. We were walking around in old Jeddah last night.
Yes, beautiful.
We were walking around for a couple hours, and everyone felt totally fine, which was something that beforehand we'd been given the impression that it might not be like that. But it was
That's what, like, you know, sadly mass media plays a role, and that's why these programs that the, you know, the State Department and the US Consulates all over the world, especially in the Arab world, do, because it's somehow bridging cultures through music and art. You know, this is what you guys do. I mean, some of the people might not even understand the language, but they will feel the passion. They will feel the. So no, I think it's important. Who from the, you know, idols, you know, that inspired, like who do you guys like listening to?
I think it's different for each guy,
like,
which is kind of fun, because then it's like when we start writing, like even if one of us comes up with, like if I bring like a song idea to the band and we sit down and we start recording that, the drums that Jack is going to come up with, the stuff he's going to write, will be totally different from the stuff that I might have thought of, but the influences really peak out, I think, for each guy, and it's really fun. I mean, I grew up listening to like really dramatic stuff, so I always say that, you know, one of my big influences was Queen, so I wanted everything to be big and anthemic and like Freddie Mercury style vocals and stuff like that. So.
I grew up with like, I had a cousin who was in a big rock band in the 80s and 90s, so I started going to concerts when I was like 3. So rock and roll was big, and I like groups like The Roots.
The Roots?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like their drummer's one of my favorite drummers, Questlove.
Questlove.
And jam. I listened to. If you looked at my iPod, you wouldn't know what was going on, because it's everything. It's literally everything.
Good music.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool.
I was pretty much always into metal.
Nice.
Like just European metal, pretty much. And I only liked screaming. I didn't even like singing and music until I was maybe after high school. And then it was like, oh, a lot more people show up to concerts when they sing. So I kind of toned it down, and it was a lot more fun playing rock, because I can already play the fast stuff. So.
There's a as well misconception about that. Like for me, good music is good music, but you have to really get. It's like hip hop, for example.
No.
Sorry, I'm gonna get into it. But hip hop, people think it's about saggy pants, peace signs, east side, west side, you know, helicopters, money thrown out of the, you know. But this is not what it is. It's actually, you know, a voice of the voiceless. It started off as a actually, you know, tool to empower people. That's how it started. But yeah, this
it's funny you mentioned that about hip hop. I grew up listening to punk rock. You know what I mean? Like late '80s, early '90s punk rock. So like, you know, the Misfits, Social Distortion, Dead Kennedy, stuff like that. Jello Biafra, Voice of the Voiceless, that whole thing. So yeah, that's really what inspires me.
Dope.
For me, I grew up listening to, you know, classical. My dad listened to techno all the time. You know, my mom listened to classic rock. Then I got into stuff like, you know, kind of the punk hardcore scene. Because it was big in my high school and stuff like that. Lately, I'm into really dramatic stuff. So it's like there's this Japanese artist I'm really into. Puts on these crazy shows. They're all just like, they're all like a story. So it's like Broadway, you know, and stuff like that. I really like that kind of stuff.
It's amazing to see, like you said, the diversity, and that's what I think makes you guys like a, you know, cool group. Question at the top: if you're given a choice to play anywhere in the world, you know, where would it be? Like if you're given, you know, where is your dream performing stage, or, you know, or space, or?
You know, honestly, like I've thought about it. We've even talked about trying to like take trips or like temporarily move to places where we'd want to play. And I think at the end of the day, for me at least, there's no particular one place that I want to play. It's just people I want to play for. So, you know, we had never thought of coming to North Africa or the Middle East for shows. But, you know, even after our experience today and our experience in Tunisia, like, those have been some of my favorite shows ever, because the response was so intense. And so I don't care where I play, as long as I'm playing for people that want to listen.
That's great.
And they really want to listen. I mean, we've been getting messages on Facebook just constantly from all these people in Tunisia, because they'd never seen a rock concert before in person. So like, it was pretty cool to be able to give them that.
For me personally, because sometimes, especially in the Arab world, we need, I don't know, maybe it's all over the world. Sometimes you need some kind of push, and when you guys play and perform, maybe you'd inspire someone from the crowd to, you know what, I'm going to continue to do what I do. Yes, there are some restrictions, like here in Saudi Arabia, there's a lot of restrictions. And what do you tell the young artists that are here? Because we have we had actually a very cool rock scene. Actually, it was a metallic scene in Saudi that was like 8-9 years ago, but then it got really, really down, like, you know, because of the restrictions that we have. But what do you tell the local artists that are, you know, trying and striving to, you know, make it, and at the end of the day, all they have is the internet. That's all they have.
I mean, connect connect with other musicians, connect with anybody trying to do what you want to do.
Collaborate.
Yeah, and that way, you're not by yourself out there trying to push into a scene that doesn't exist yet.
Correct.
We had some questions like that in Tunisia, and of course my first response was, stay safe.
Okay.
But, that being said, if it's your passion, you can't ignore that.
Yeah, true. I mean, I love what you said. You created. I always say, if you don't have an opportunity, create it. Because in this part of the world, I host a hip hop show in Saudi Arabia. No one believes that. Like when I interview Chuck D, when I interview people like he was like, "What? Saudi Arabia? How the hell did you get my name even there? Like what?" So that's important because you're creating opportunity. You're creating that bridge. Yeah. So it's very. I love that word because you create the opportunity, even though like you said, if you're not breaking any rules or you're not doing anything wrong, but that's your passion. It's very important. It's really cool talking to you guys. I want to talk about your biography, your CDs. Like, how many albums do you guys have out? Where can people purchase it? Is it on iTunes? Is it?
So we've got 3 releases out right now.
Nice.
We've got an EP that we did several years ago. We have a full-length record.
Cool. Which is Burn the Ballroom?
It's self-titled. Yeah. And then we've got one that we did last year called Melodies for the Outsiders.
Melodies,
And those are all on everything. Spotify,
Cool.
iTunes, whatever.
YouTube. So I want to talk about that crazy video in a bit, but are you guys like independent? Like there's no like, okay, so you self-manage yourself, and how is that for you guys? Because it's somehow, people say that you have to get signed to a label, especially maybe it's a hip hop. I'm not sure about rock, but you got to sign to a label. They will, take you all over the world. They'll get you money.
Well, they won't necessarily get you money, but they can.
I'm not sure about the money thing.
Yeah. I mean,
we made it across the world. We don't have a label.
That's
Okay.
right.
The old business model of the music industry
not working
is
anymore.
broken.
Yeah.
Digital revolution changed absolutely everything.
True that.
You can get music from any place, from anyone at any time via the internet now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just kind of it's like a freelance market at this
Yeah.
point. So if you've got the right connections, if you've got the right numbers, you can pull money out of
Yeah.
that, and you can push yourself
True.
forward.
It does require you to be a lot more disciplined because once upon a time, 20 years ago even in the States, if you were a really good band, that was enough.
That's it.
But now you have to be a really good band. You have to put on a great show.
Yeah.
You have to have the discipline to take care of all your business stuff.
Correct.
You have to be a creative marketer, and you have to be able to
Make an impact.
you have to be able to manage and distribute and all of that stuff.
Book shows.
You have to be your own label.
Yeah.
And we wear so many different hats. Like
Correct. Manager,
like
yeah.
designing our own stage show, like
Wow.
doing my own lights versus having somebody that the label would provide. But
So in a way, it's cool because now you can find your new favorite band every day because they're posting music online. But it doesn't mean that those guys are going to be able to make a living. So what it requires us to do is work twice as hard. But if you can stick with it and you can find your opportunities, then I think you are creating sustainability.
Cool.
So we may end up working with a label again. We're going to go home after this tour and start recording a new EP, and we'll see what happens with that. But for now, we seem to be doing all right.
Yeah. Cool. I'm loving this. So, a couple more questions. Take us through the Crazy video. The video called for the song called Crazy. Yeah. So.
Well, there's a movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Of course, it's very interesting you say that. I acted in a play here in Saudi Arabia, the first English play, and we did an adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I was the chief, but coming in from a Palestinian background.
Okay.
Not the. So it was really beautiful. The video is online, but anyway, it's cool that you said that. So yeah. So okay, so it's related to that.
Yeah, at the beginning it says like One Flew Over the Ballroom, and
Yeah, we so the song Crazy was supposed to be like, I wanted to take like a really cute vibe,
Okay.
and put sort of darker lyrics on top of it and sort of create something that was like thought-provoking but almost funny, but catchy. And so we thought we should do something similar with the video. So I had a friend of mine in LA who is a director, and he was really excited about it.
He liked the idea.
So we flew out to LA last year and did that video, and the song is about two people who fall in love because they're the same kind of crazy.
Okay.
And so we decided, of course, that video should take place in a mental institution, and so it was just a lot of fun, just
Possibly
us.
inside your own head.
Yeah, possibly inside your own head. And so it was like the idea was, every band member has some sort of something afflicting them, and we'll we won't make light of mental illness, but we'll make it sort of easy and fun because the song is upbeat but sort of messed up at the same time.
What do you guys think of the music industry now? Like now, as we speak, is there a lot of speculations and talks? Like, there's no music industry, like you said. There's no labels. Good music is good music. Is there an industry?
Yeah, what I see it as is bands are able to. I mean, they're not able to just focus on music and performing anymore. It's like running your own business.
Correct.
There's a lot of more stuff to worry about. It's marketing and branding is so much more important because you can find anything on the internet. So you got to be, when you're at the storefront and you have every store available. How do you make yourselves stand out?
Yeah.
Make money.
Everybody's competitive that way.
Which also presents a lot more opportunities too, because since we have to work so much harder, it's like we can see things that maybe bands 20 years ago never thought about.
Correct.
So we can kind of make our own way, which is exciting too.
What's crazy too, though, in the States is that there's a couple really big companies that have bought a majority of the radio stations. So there's less and less and less local radio. So a lot of what you hear is just top 40.
It's the same time. Payola, it still exists, I think.
Oh, yeah.
It exists here. So that brings me to a question: is radio play important as before?
It definitely is still important. I just saw something. I think it's the second biggest place where people get music. I think first is the internet now, but radio's still important.
I think it's still important. That being said, when I think of, aside from my influences from way back, when I think of my favorite bands from the last 15 years, I didn't discover any of them
on the radio.
And these are really good, successful bands that can sell out every little club that they play at. We have a club called the 930 Club in DC. How many people do you think that thing holds? 1,200 people.
Wow. And it sells out.
And these bands can sell out every single 1,200 person club in every city that they show up in. So they're not doing stadiums or whatever. They're not the Foo Fighters or whatever. But they're extremely successful, and they're able to do what they want and make the music that they want. And I didn't discover those guys on the radio. And I think a lot of it had to do with finding the music scene that I felt comfortable in, and then also music was making the rounds through things like Napster and whatever,
Napster,
and so it was through the music community, and the internet had a lot to do with it, and so I think
radio also has this lingering novelty that a lot of friends, if we were on the radio, would be a lot more impressed than the fact we flew out to LA to do a music video. Because it's just just the generation. Because they're if you're on the radio, you made it. So if we were on the radio, they play us every once in a while.
It's funny, I agree with what you guys said. Wow. Okay. So, if you would open up to any group, who would it be?
To work with?
To open up
for.
Open for. In a big festival.
Foo Fighters
would be great.
Green Day.
I think it'd be fun to open up for a band like Muse.
Muse.
Because we all like that really dramatic.
Yeah.
All of our influences are different, but we like the dramatic.
Has anybody from these bands actually checked out music? Have you ever opened up to any of not collaborated, connected, let's say?
Bands at that level, you can't just call them on the phone.
Yeah, hey, what's up? Check out my music.
We've had a chance
hey,
to.
Bono,
We've had a chance to play with a lot of the bands that I really liked growing up in the past 15 years, but a lot of them are sort of not so mainstream.
Okay.
We actually there was a band that we listened to. Some of us listened to that was on the poppier side, popular in 2008, 2009. And now we're friends with that guy.
Okay.
And he helped us make the last record.
Wow.
And so, we've gotten chances to play with and meet a lot of our heroes, but not quite on the level of the bands that we've mentioned.
Guitar player from Darius Rucker loves our stuff.
That's true. That's true.
As of yesterday, which is here when you heard it.
Really, right at the crossroads of like rock and country.
Yeah.
And they just played
Hootie and the
60,000
Blowfish,
people.
Darius
So.
Rucker.
My last question, I promise. You guys are very cool to talk to, and would you collaborate with any artists from the Middle East? Like, would you even think about like?
Absolutely.
I've been talking with the rap group that we were with in Tunisia.
Okay.
And I want to
Red
try
Star.
and do some
Yeah,
kind
Red
of
Star.
something with them, or just some kind of throw some rock music under some rapping. And
He wants to do a music video together.
There's
Yeah.
the guys we met in Tunisia were awesome. Red Star was awesome. And we're going to be going to Egypt.
Yes.
And we're
Egypt
gonna
is great.
we're gonna have a chance. It looks like to play with a band called Kairoki.
Oh, karaoke.
And so we're hoping.
in Cairo.
That's a perfect response.
No, that's the response we wanted to see.
No,
man.
yeah, shout out to Karaoke, man. They're really amazing. And there's a big rap scene as well in Egypt. There's a group called Arabian Nights, and I'm sure they'll be involved, like somehow, some way. They're very, very, very dope. So that's big up to you guys. See, that's how amazing it is. Like, you guys from, the US, you're connected to a guy who hosts a radio show over here, who has Egypt, Morocco, it's Tunisia, and it's beautiful. And I wish you guys all the best for real. And I just want, everybody to look at the camera and say their names, and that'll be really great. So
I'm Sterling, I play lead guitar.
I'm Justin. I play bass.
And I'm Thomas. I play guitar.
I'm Jack. I play drums.
And my name's Alan.
cool. Beautiful. All right. So I think beautiful. It's like I said, it's an honor to talk to you guys and meet
Well,
you.
we've heard so much about you, so it's an honor for us
No, for real.
to hang out with you.
For me.